Perfect music, I'd say. Unfortunately, it's not a background music bed that I put on as a promotional effort. I'm actually watching a show called Ice Road Terror. It's a horror movie of some sorts on sci-fi. And I like stuff like that. I don't know about you guys, but I just had to show you guys something. This is a Norseman, my Norseman, from Grimsmo Brothers Knives out of Ontario, Canada. And Eric and John Grimsmo made this knife. It is a user. I use it. That's what knives are designed for. You can see the pocket scratch or snail tracks, as they call them, on there. You can see where I've cut stuff. Still got some remnants, looks like, of some food particles there. I'm not really sure what. This particular knife was something that helped John in getting his code down for his computer programming for his CNC machine that helps in making these knives. They've made several of them, but back when this one was in the process, it was number 124. It's made with RWL 34 steel, which is fantastic. Another thing is the fact that there's I guess, an ongoing conversation or argument, whatever you want to call it, stating that these knives are customs. Others say they are mid-techs. Others say they are production knives. It's just a battle of wits, I guess you'd say, or the lack thereof, in my opinion. But when this one was made, John actually had to pretty much make it custom because we were trying to figure out some coding on his computer for his CNC program. And so he wrote custom made September 2013 for Mark McLean on it. There's the Norseman head on the back, which you don't find either. There's the Norseman on the clip as well. There's also a Norseman, the Spartan helmet guy inside there, as you can see up at the top. There you go. And on the pivot. Now, if you'll notice, when I take the lock off the blade, this is a frame lock knife, as you see there. The frame locks the blade in place. You take the lock off and watch the pivot. Are you watching it? It stays in one spot. Now, back when John Grimsmo was developing this knife, he had made 123 of them, and he and I discussed it, and he sort of used this knife as a guinea pig to get his coating down. He wanted to try out making a design so that the pivot would not move. Back in those days, the pivot turned every single time you flipped the blade. It went around in a complete 360 degree circle. He didn't like that. He's sort of OCD, honestly. So he wanted to make sure that he could design a pivot, and they do all their pivots in shop, or they did. I'm not certain about these days because they've done some changing. But at that time, all the pivots were made in shop. They had to carve the heads down somewhat on them, even though they had purchased them, but they had to redesign them to their perspectives and what they needed. So he designed sort of like an octagonal cut on the pivot inside there to keep it locked in place. So now it doesn't rotate, it stays steady right in one spot. The Spartan helmet guy faces one direction at all times, whether you're flipping it out or locking it. So that's why this knife was a little bit special, very special to me. And I've been told that, yeah, you could get to around $2,000 or more for that knife these days, or whatever. Different stories from different folks, but no, not for me. It's not for sale. But I love the honeycomb pattern. The heat treat look is really, the flame treat is beautiful, I think. That's my opinion. And I wanted to also say, back when they made this knife, I don't know if we can get in on the bevel or not, but there you go, a little bit. Back when we got this knife, they were doing all of their sharpening via the wicked edge machine, and Eric Grimm's mow. He had to do all of the sharpening by hand on the wicked edge. Nowadays, I think they use a belt system. I'm not sure. But then it was all wicked edge. And this knife, believe it or not, I don't care if you don't believe it, it's true. This knife has not been sharpened since day one. I've cut all kinds of stuff with it. I'm not saying it's attributable to the wicked edge bevel or Eric's commandership sharpening, but I'm saying that it hasn't been sharpened. All I've done is hone it on strops, and that's it. Well, a little more maybe than just a strop. I will go ahead and place it here in these promotional setup clips. Here we go. There's a little Spartan helmet guy. I got that off eBay years and years ago, by the way. But not everybody likes a knife that has one of those on it, but I do. So anyway, here's what I did. I always use this steel. They call it a steel or a honing rod. I use that one and a glove that was given to me by a buddy of mine who used to work at a company called Real Foot Packing in Union City, Tennessee. I lived there for several years and worked in radio early on in my career. I had 2 daughters down there, my ex-wife and I, and it's a great steel. I love it. From Real Foot Packing Company. They're no longer in business, by the way. Anyway, so I use the steel. I also use a couple of strops. This one was straight off a barber's chair. A buddy of mine in Reedland, Kentucky, took it right off of his barber chair. He has a shop downtown, and if you can call it downtown Reedland, and gave it to me. Now this one, I love this one. Is a 3-inch strop, 3-inch wide, and it's made in the USA, I believe. Yeah, handcrafted in the USA. I love this particular strop. I've got a coating of iron oxide on the back. Just whatever you need for your particular needs. This one is just a plain canvas on the back. And then I use this one. This is one of the board strops that they have, or some people make. Use the iron oxide first and then flip over and do the chromium oxide. And that's what I've done. Just a few strokes. I'm talking a few, like maybe 6 strokes per side, and that's it. And I'll go ahead and pull out, for those of you that don't recognize this, the millenniums, the younger generation, this is a phone book. You used to have to look people's numbers up to call them and dial them. So here's a piece of phone book paper. All right, now what we're going to do is flip the camera. Let's if I can do that, let me see. Please just bear with me. We're going to try and flip the camera around. If not, we'll just stop. And we will continue. Here we go with a piece of phone book paper. I haven't even tested this, so it may not cut at all, but it feels like it's got a good edge still. It can still trim hair. I don't want to do a lot off my arm because I don't have much. Can you see that? There you go, see? So it's still sharp, and I haven't sharpened it one time. It has not been on one single sharpening stone. And here we go. Oh man, that is amazing. It will even feather, I bet. Oh, that is wicked. And it's not a wicked edge. Well, I guess it is a wicked edge, because I haven't done it, put it on a wicked edge. But that just is to show you that you don't have to sharpen a blade every single time that it gets dull or duller or, dulled. You don't have to. Don't keep removing layer after layer of steel from the edge of your knife when all you have to do, perhaps maybe, is just strop it a few times. I love mine. hopefully you'll learn to do some of that for your knife. Respect the steel, it'll respect you, I promise you. The Norseman by Grimsmo Knives. John and Eric, thank you guys. Always enjoyed meeting you and talking with you each time I get to see you at Blade Show in Atlanta. And I appreciate you guys for watching as well. Thank you so much.